Welcome back to the Aftermatch with Kirsten Beav. Come for the rugby, stay for the analysis. You know what time of the week it is? It is Beaver's Bunker time. This has been going absolutely bananas, so we've got to give you more of what you like. Remember, a big thumbs up if you're into this kind of content. Massive shout out to our supporters on this. Platinum Homes, designing your dream home in New Zealand, and also to Sky Sport, who allow us to have this footage. Everyone's saying this is the best analysis on the internet. That's because we have access to this incredible footage, so we are incredibly grateful. Beav, what are we looking at today?
Yeah, of course. Well, it's Blueprint Day, and as you mentioned, brought to us by the Platinum Homes, and it's about the two teams who are going to be a part of an absolute blockbuster there at Eden Park on Saturday night. And when I say two teams, they couldn't be more contrasting, I reckon, how they go about their work, especially on attack. Both are great to watch because they do score tries and they are ruthlessly efficient when they're at their best. But the two teams go about their work, I think, considerably different. And if we start with the All Blacks, and if we look at what they did in the weekend, there was a lot of turnover tries and there was a lot of counterattack. Here you got Damian McKenzie kicking long down to an isolated Italian man who straight away returns serve. Now, we've highlighted three All Blacks down the bottom of your corner. We've highlighted them because look how quickly they change gears to get back onside. We talked about the reload last week. And they're straight away, it's Wallace, Geordie Barrett, Leroy Carter's back. And all of a sudden, those guys and their effort curse has meant that the All Blacks could find a little bit of an overlap, a little bit of an advantage down the edge. And it was purely because those three, as soon as they saw the Italian kick go back to Damian McKenzie, it was time to hit the burners so they could feature in it. We saw last week Damian McKenzie did the same, but he did a cross kick to them. This time, boys are getting back and offering themselves another pair of hands.
So you always talk about the kicking game and how important the kicking game is for attack. So he was kicking that to set them up for a try.
Well,
is that what was happening there?
He kicked that knowing he was going down to one defender. And one defender receiving a ball inside his own 22. He's got to be pretty special if he thinks the odds are in his favour to have a run there, Kirst. So instead, he decides to kick it straight back to the All Blacks, and then all of a sudden, the Italian forwards have had to go back, and then they've had to come forward again, and that's when all of a sudden the defensive line isn't as strong as it could be, and we saw that the All Blacks got a little bit of pay down the edge, and in the end scored one of their absolute beauties from the weekend, Kirst.
So tired defence.
Well, it's also repetitive kicking, repetitive going back and forth. You're naturally going to get tired defence. And we've got another great example, and this time it's Will Jordan's second try. Just a traditional box kick straight away. We've highlighted another three All Blacks who have rushed back. You see Proctor, you see Ardie Savea, Wallace Atiti. Again, these three out here, there's nothing in front of them, Kirst. You can see the space that's straight in front of them. The All Blacks want to get the ball there. Ardie this time carries hard and quickly. Quick ruck. The Italian defence still working. You just saw the top of your screen. They're still working to get back. And then as this play unfolds, we've had the counter-attack where we've seen working hard by the All Blacks. Now we want to see the offloading game and guys working hard still. We've highlighted Geordie Barrett there. He's just been tackled, gets up off the ground, feeds Morby. Morby feeds Will Jordan, who himself has just done an offload and ended up back on the ground too. And he gets up and scores another try, Kirst. So when you're talking about all this work rate and playing at pace, that clip there, for me, highlights it all.
Yeah, so we're talking about very similar themes, aren't we? And of course, they all work together in the way that Dave really wants to play. Those three guys that reloaded back that time, Satiti, Proctor, and Ardie Savea. Do you think across the park, pretty much all of these All Blacks have the same sort of fitness levels? Because I imagine in the past that, and this is just me taking a wild guess, that the backs would have been quite a significant bit fitter than most of the forwards.
Yeah,
would that
I'd
not
say,
be the case anymore with the way that they're playing?
Wingers of yesteryear, I don't think could lay much claim to being up the top as far as the fitness goes. I know
so
now
just
they have
good
to.
for a 100-metre dash.
Yes, now they certainly have to be their work rate, but no, I think there'll still be significant difference, but it's the mentality. It's the mentality that you've got to go, and loose forwards have always been as fit as anyone going in the team, and it's not so much the fitness of running these Bronco tests or what have you. You've got to remember these forwards here are doing all of that running curse, but they're doing it after being smoked at rucks and then making tackles and then getting up and getting back. So it's a different sort of fitness. But for me, I just think it highlights the intensity of their attitude when the ball goes back. It's time to go. Where in the past, you probably maybe dawdled back and waited for a kick to go back over your head, and then maybe thought about connecting as a D-line. But you just can certainly see from those three guys that we've highlighted in both clips that as soon as that ball goes back, they know that they could be the difference out on the edge.
I know it's early days, like test 2 underneath this new coaching regime, but there's already parts about this All Blacks team. It's like we're watching the All Blacks of old.
Yeah, well, I think it's just the fact that they know that the offloads are coming. It's clearly part of their mentality as far as how they are going to play. I tell you what, Kirst, the great thing about Saturday night is it's going to be different as far as who they're playing. It's not like for like.
Okay, so let's have a look at clip number 3 then, Beav. What is it about this clip?
Well, the Irish are just so detailed. They all know what's going on. Now, this is a tap penalty move that they've got that we've seen both the Irish and the Lions score tries from against the Wallabies. And Sheenan commits to running almost a sacrificial line at the Aussie defence. And then at the last minute, you see Van der Fleer, the great flanker who's made a real name for himself in Ireland over the last sort of decade, run a line that because of the way Aussie defended, we highlighted the little chink in the Australian line. They come up nice and square against Sheenan, but they sat back a little bit one channel wider. And that's where Van der Fleer is able to punch through and score what looks to be a soft try, Curse. But because the Irish know their detail, they know that out of the corner of their eye, if they don't come up together, then Van der Fleer's running that line and he's going to get the soft shoulder.
What should their defence have done there? Like, what will the All Blacks do this weekend?
Well, the reason why Van der Fleer scored is the guys outside of those first couple Aussies sat back on the line, and they all honeypotted in to Sheenan, who we've seen Sheenan do this with the Lions and embarrass the Wallabies no more than 12 months earlier with some of their tap tries. Well, this time he had a little offload in him, and Van der Fleer scores just what looks to be an easy try, but are so well organised because everyone is across the detail. And the next one, Curse, is no different. It's a tap try. The detail here is in the timing. The timing of the little dummy run, Jamison, Gibson Park and Tamoni, who decide instantly when the moment is to go. And at that time, they pick from the base of the ruck, and because for that split second, when you saw Jamison Gibson Park make his run on that left-hand side, just catches the eye of the inside defenders there and straight away try. And it's brilliant in its simplicity, Curse. But it's these little details. But it's these little details that makes Ireland so tough, is because they are so in tuned. They are so in tuned. Everyone's across everything. And there would be a little core or a little tap on the backside of one of the players here that triggers it. And then as soon as it happens, everyone's movements are in tune. Okay,
so we've just seen 2 very similar tries. Do the Irish score a quick tap try against the All Blacks this weekend, yes or no?
Well, do you want me to really scare you? As that was 2 of their tries against Australia. There was a third one. But I would like to think we'll be across that. But you just never know.
No's your answer.
There'll be a lot of work done on it. We go somewhere different now. I'm sorry to break it to you. It was actually off a tap. So about 3 phases later, it's the simplicity of their detail and them knowing that if there's a chink in the opposition defence, they'll be able to exploit it because everyone is in motion, everyone is in play. And here you've got Ringrose and you've got Keenan, the great fullback. He just runs a line. Aussie looking out the back because they see there's a backball runner. And just because their timing is so good on all their play, Ringrose has got the ability. He'll have seen the Aussie defender who's got eyes throughout the back that we've highlighted here on the Platinum Home blueprint. And so therefore he goes short of his great fullback in Keenan.
It's not flashy, is it? And this isn't meant to sound like I don't respect them. But I guess what you're saying is they don't need to be because they do what they're doing so well that it works.
When you are across the detail of what they do, it is a brilliant thing because they know the reason that they can exploit things is they know where every mate of theirs is going to be. They know what position they're going to be at the point of that pass. And that's the thing about the Ringrose-Keenan combination there. He knew that he was probably going to go out the back. Ringrose probably thought, I'm passing out the back, but hang on, Aussie have just shown me a little chink here, and I'm just going to send my mate through. And often if a team's not cohesive like the Irish, then the guy might not have had his hands up, might not have been there at the right time that he needed to be. But they are so well drilled and they are such across their detail. And Kirst, I'm glad you said that it doesn't look that great here, because I'm going to show you
Show me something great.
one last further clip, another Irish try, but it also highlights that when they are rocking and rolling and they go a few phases, again, everyone is so in tuned and it looks simple, but it is so effective. Here we go. They're switching short side. And again, what you notice here, Kirst, is no one is out of play for the Irish. Even when they're just going through their normal forward runners, you see, they're all a threat. They're all an option. And then when the moment comes to pull the trigger on the play, that, of course, is a combination of their systems. That's Furlong to Ringrose to Van Konen. So
there's really nice.
There's some big names, but also one's a prop, one's a centre, and one's a number 8. And that was the combination there that in the end had the ability to pull the trigger on exploiting the Wallabies. And this was a match-defining try, that one. That was just for half-time to get them back in it. But if you watch it again, Kirst, just look at the quality of their play. No one is what you'd say is a dummy runner. They could hit any of these guys because they are all in play. They are all threatening. Of course, Jamison Gibson Park, he's everywhere, keeping the speed and the tempo going. But this is the beauty of it. Look at this. That's Furlong. He's pulled it out right on top of the Aussie line, and then Ringrose, and as I said, Konen combined, and Jamison Gibson Park scores it in the end. But they are so ruthlessly efficient with their detail that any chink, as we've seen, and there was only a bit of a chink there, but it was just outside where Ringrose was, and straight away Konen was in a position to take advantage of it.
You say efficient and connected. Is this all because majority of them play together like 11 months of the year? Is that why?
Well, there's plenty of aspects why, but yes, the majority of this team is Leinster. The majority of this team played for the Lions last year, and I think you could probably take it back to the days of Joe Schmidt coaching Ireland, and then obviously Farrell took over. Their attack is based on high repetition of quick ruck speed, and then they get their flow going, and then they've always had great halfbacks. Of course, they're missing their absolute champion 5'8" and Johnny Sexton these days, but because their system is so good and everyone else's detail, it's a matter of just slotting in and keeping the machine. They are machine-like. When they get going, that is how they attack.
So how do you shut them down if you're the All Blacks?
Well, I don't think the recipe's changed in the last, you could say, however long you want. You've got to try and have a crack at them at set piece. All of their tries against the Aussies, Kirst, which there were 6, they were all scored within about 3 or 4 phases of the set piece. So what does that tell you? That tells you that for those first 3 or 4, they are absolutely brilliant. They're all in tune. So you've got to try and upset that set piece. So whether it's trying to disrupt the line out or make the scrum unstable. And then if you don't do that, then you've got to try and slow down the ruck speed at the first ruck or at the second ruck, because we also know that in their halfback, Jamison Gibson Park, if he gets momentum, if he gets front foot ball, he's as good as absolutely anyone going off that sort of momentum. So basically, it's those first couple of phases, Kirst, that the All Blacks are going to try and disrupt them.
So tell us, if they're scoring most of their tries off set piece and they're in the first 3 or 4 phases that they actually do score, so they're very systematic. They don't play off the cuff footy like us.
No, that's what I mean. It's
completely different styles, like totally opposite, worlds apart.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've seen the energy and the excitement work rate from the All Blacks as soon as a kick goes in. That's their time that they're getting excited. Obviously, Ireland a bit more deliberate when they get to their set pieces inside your 20 or 30. That's when your alarm bells have to be ringing defensively, because that's when you feel that they're going to throw all their eggs into those baskets of, whether it's trick shots, whether it's just the efficiency of their cleans and carries. But they are so good in those first 2 or 3 phases, Kirst, that you've just got to somehow take them out of it.
I know it sounds simple, but clearly defence for both teams is going to have to be at the absolute best this weekend, whether you're trying to defend the All Blacks on counterattack or you're trying to defend the Irish coming off set piece. It's going to be a hell of a test match.
Yeah, can't wait for this, Kirst. I hope the weather gods play ball there in the Garden of Eden. But cannot wait for it.
Oh, well, that is the aftermatch with Kirst and Beav. Make sure thumbs up, remember, if you like this content. And if you ever have any suggestions, we're actually developing a bit of a list now, Beav, with content that people want out of Beaver's bunker, all thanks to Platinum Home. So keep sending through what you would like Beaver to analyse, and we'll keep clipping things up and delivering this every week throughout the international season. Like, subscribe on all social media platforms and on YouTube as well. And we'll see you for a team naming reaction tomorrow.